everyone. This is Talking Heads, where we spotlight company leaders. Now, today we have with us Income's Chief Customer Officer, Dhiren Amin. Dhiren, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Your remit spans such a wide range of areas, from brand marketing and strategic communications. You even manage your company's sustainability efforts. How has your prior career experience in the industry informed your current work at Income?
Thanks for the question. My prior experience for the last decade has been in fast-moving consumer goods. My last role was as the CMO for Asia for Kraft Heinz. And my learnings coming from the world of FMCG are three. So first, everything we do from a marketing, product, sustainability standpoint needs to benefit the business. So it needs to keep the company's interests and commercial interests at heart. That's number one. Number two is about ensuring that we work off a strong brand and a strong brand purpose. This is particularly important because it allows for you to marry your company's commercial interests with the interests that you have for society. So that's the second. And third, having a very strong focus on product, which is we are at the end of the day a commercial entity. Our products are what customers buy. Our brand is one of the reasons why they buy it. So ensuring that irrespective of which category we work in, whether life, health, travel, motor, our product has a reason to be preferred by our customers, is focused on both in terms of product development and in terms of communication are things that we focus on. So a long answer to your very short question, but I'll summarize it. It's my learnings around keeping the commercial interests at heart, keeping the brand purpose at the center of everything we do, and driving product preference are some of the things that have come from my earlier career that I now bring to this role.
You're marketer at heart. I think you've been doing it for over 20 years, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, I actually started working first in 2001, but then at that point I was just an engineer. So my first job was actually in a power plant, and then from 2014 actually, I've been not 2014, 2004. I've been in the business of marketing, first in communication and agencies, and then the second half from 2013 on the brand and commercial side, first with Unilever and then with Kraft Heinz, and now, of course, with Income.
So much of a successful comms and marketing campaign lies in, effective and engaging storytelling. What are some storytelling practices that you personally cannot live without? What makes the most compelling story to you?
So the first principle is for the story to have an objective, and it should have a business objective. So to give you an example, we have recently launched a horror film for our travel insurance. The business objective of that is actually to grow our customer base of travel customers. And we're specifically going after people who frequently travel abroad. And the way we are trying to convince them to prefer us is by talking about the enhanced COVID coverage we provide when people travel, right? So that's the source of our preference through which we are hoping to get more customers. And the travel horror story actually amplifies our main message, which is about the fact that getting COVID while traveling can still be a bit of a nightmare, right? So that then leads to the idea of, okay, if we're gonna execute that kind of message, let's make a horror film about a couple traveling and having a really nightmarish experience when you get COVID. So that's the first principle. Tie your storytelling back to a strong business objective. The second principle is try and tie it to something that actually does well for society. Again, I'll give you another example. We wanted to drive preference for our life insurance business, and one of the plans we chose to focus on was Star Secure Pro, and of course we wanted to gain a disproportionate share of the market. by focusing on this product. And what we recognized was that this product was one of the very few products that had a unique benefit of actually providing support for mental health issues. Now, there is very little conversation about making yourself financially secure when it comes to mental health, right? And yet, we hear so much about people suffering from mental health issues. So it seems like the responsible thing to do as a society, and yet there is so little conversation about it. And so that's where we were able to marry our business objective of growing our business in life insurance through getting more customers with the societal objective of having the right financial security for mental health issues, which is a growing concern. And coming out of that was the campaign we ran around get the mental health support you need using Star Secure Pro. And again, that's the second principle, which is connecting your storytelling to a social good that also drives business. The third pillar of storytelling is staying true to your brand purpose. A third example that I can give of this is a recent campaign we did in 2020, in the second half of 2022, where we actually went to customers and underlined our brand purpose of putting people first by talking about the fact that in a world where increasingly people show care through emojis and chat messages, income actually shows up in real life. So actually, in a world where care has become virtual, we care in for real. And here again, we went into product messages like having the most number of COVID, having a large number of COVID support schemes, being one of the only insurers that provides cancer coverage for seniors, and some others, where we again focused on product. But here, our principle was staying true to what our brand is about, which is putting people first, and we executed through talking about a value around care. So, three very basic principles: drive your business objective, ensure that you're doing some social good whenever you can. It's not necessary, but if you're able to marry your business objective with a social objective, that's the golden mean. And third, always stay true to your brand purpose. So I think that actually allows for great storytelling consistently.
Right. So having that vision and really tying it in with, I guess, also, a larger audience and making sure it's even relevant to people, right?
Yeah, that is absolutely correct.
Nice. So other than those that you've mentioned, I'm just really curious, what are some of your all-time favorite PR and marketing campaigns? If you could name a few, either those you've worked on or those you have observed from afar and gone like, oh man, I wish I thought of that myself.
Well, in recent times, I think the work we have done on the horror film is very brave. I can't remember the last time somebody made a short horror film to sell an insurance policy. So I think that's brave to begin with. I actually think some of the work we've done last year on mental health support for Star Secure, or providing the right amount of end of life care using Term Life Solitaire, were brave campaigns because they spoke about societal issues like mental health and end of life care, right? Territories that normally insurers don't go into. So in the short span of time that I've been here, if you ask me to pick among our own children, I mean, those would be the ones that I would pick, as tough as it sounds. In my past, I think the work that I'm the most proud of is work that we did for a brand called ABC soy sauce in Indonesia, where we actually chose to grow our market share by standing for gender equality in cooking. So for close to 3 or 4 years, we were driving the social purpose of having equality in cooking in a country where 6 out of 10 women worked, but less than 3 out of 10 husbands actually entered the kitchen to cook. And by focusing on improving this inequality, we were able to drive preference for ABC soy. So that, to me, remains a piece of work that I'm quite proud of in my within the portfolio that we worked on. When you talk about the business of advertising, I have quite a few favorites. The two that immediately come to mind for me are the recent work done by Mondelez in India for Cadbury's celebrations, where they focused on they did a platform. They created a platform where they encouraged people to go back to mom and pop stores during an important festival like Diwali, because if they didn't go back to the mom and pop stores, their sales would suffer in a very important festive period. And they did that by through a smart use of technology, where the communication was able to customize the advertising to the areas, to specific areas of India. Uh, so it was a great marriage of of a really steep business problem, a really solid technological solution that was on brand in terms of the way it was executed around the concept of festivity. So it is a campaign that I'm jealous of, and I wish it was something that I'd done. If I go back further into the past, I think there's work that's done by Puma um, around a platform called the After Hours Athlete, which I thought was very interesting. In the business of sports apparel, most organizations talk about victory and performance, and Nike's position is about the fact that every person can be an athlete if they want to. And in that world, Puma chose to be the counterpoint by saying we are for the after hour athletes, for the people who play ping pong in bars, and the people who go out for 3 a.m. binges, and for the people who play snooker and beer pong, and interesting. I mean, it's very different take in a category that's very driven by codes of victory. So it was interesting as a platform. I like to identify platforms that allow for communication over 3 or 4 or 5 years without changing, versus actually looking out for individual campaigns, because individual campaigns can be a stroke of brilliance, but a platform really reflects a brand's purpose, a brand's intent, and then it consistently builds preference. Dove, Real Care is one example. Ariel, Share the Load is another. Puma, After Our Athlete is a third. So I mean, those kind of platforms or Lifebuoy hand washing are platforms that survive the test of time and grow brands and grow brand values. I think the best marketers and the best work is done when you know what you want to achieve for the business, for society, and for your customers. As simple as that sounds, it's actually very tough. It's like saying the company needs to make money, the society needs to improve, um, and your customers need to see value. And finally, also, and most importantly, actually, the people who sell your product also get a benefit out of it, depending on which category you're in. If you're in the business of consumer goods, it's your stores. If in the context of Singapore, it would be your cold storage or fair price. In the case of India, it would be your mom and pop stores. In the case of China, it would be your met markets. Those guys need to also benefit. In the business of insurance, it could be your agents, such like. So everything has to benefit. And when brands achieve all four is when they actually do the best work. Grow the brand, do good for society, do good for your channel partners, and do good for your customer. And that's the role of marketers, to achieve that. And that's why a marketer's job is not an easy one.
When it comes to something like brand loyalty, what do you think consumers here in Asia value the most?
Listen, I think loyalty is interesting. At one level, we live in a world where you are being incentivized to not be loyal. If you go to a lot of your e-commerce channels, the lure of promotions is so high that there is enough incentive for you to switch. I think we honestly live in a world where loyalty from a customer standpoint is getting rarer. And actually, the best way to ensure brand loyalty is to ensure the brand's utility and purpose. If customers buy into a brand's utility, they will stay loyal, right? If you are a customer of, say, a sauce, and you really like its taste, right? And you like its taste more than anybody else, any other taste for a sauce in that particular category, you're going to stay loyal. right? That's got to do with the product. So there it's about product superiority. And hence, the first the first principle of loyalty is utility. Utility better than anybody else's utility. The second principle of loyalty is also transactional, which is, am I able to make the customer feel that they're consistently getting that product or that brand for fair value, right? Um, you're not going to stay loyal to a brand if you don't believe you're paying the best price for it, irrespective of how much you like it. So the second principle of loyalty is actually your transactional value, the value that you at which your brand is available. The third is the purpose, right? Do you buy into a brand's purpose of what they're wanting to achieve, right? Um, there are many brands of that nature. Ben and Jerry's is a brand that's focused on doing good for the world in terms of its sourcing. You buy into that purpose, you're going to stick to that brand. I think what's actually become tougher is value, because of proliferation of e-commerce, because of the need to actually continue to buy, to drive preference and get the customer base. We are starting to bring down the prices at which we are wanting to sell our brands. um, I think that's what's changed a lot. It's also a function of the amount of choice customers have today, but I think this is not sustainable. I think over a period of time, customers and companies are going to recognize that your utility and your purpose actually matter equally. And I think loyalty is going to start coming back to the levels that we were used to. Today, actually, the transactional nature of categories has made that loyalty erode, and we are all responsible for it.
Any upcoming plans at Income that you're at liberty to share right now?
We have just released our sustainability report. It's the present future, as I call it. Like any other company, we have our own action plans going on for delivering the year. Again, I can't get into details. We're working on some stuff around protection that's very exciting, and we're all looking forward to it. The horror film's just been launched for travel, so we're looking forward to that. Um, we we will be starting to dabble in some other new age channels. I can't name them yet, but I think people are intelligent enough to know what I'm talking about, hopefully.
Now, before you go, I do have one last question for you, because as you know, Talking Heads is a leadership interview series, right? I want to know from you personally, what do you think are, the top 3 keys to being a successful leader in this industry?
I think there are 3 things. The first one is being customer obsessed, and by being customer obsessed is a very simple thing. Whether you're a CMO or whether you're somebody who's getting into the business of brand management, you need to be obsessed over meeting customers. And by meeting customers, I mean, you can simply put it down to saying, are you ensuring you're meeting 2 customers every month, right? When I mean customers, I mean the people you serve, which is your end customer. The second, meet your internal customers who are selling your products, so your trade. If you're able to spend enough time being customer obsessed and meeting customers as a function of being customer obsessed, your chances of being able to create the right inputs from a product, price, and communication standpoint are significantly higher, because you know exactly who you're creating for, right? That's the first principle. The second one is be craft obsessed. Marketing is a function of commercial craftsmanship. Our tools are creating communication, influencing product development that allows for us to drive business value. So ours is a bit of a craft, right? We have to be working with other people to create comms, to create products, and being craft obsessed is important. Look for a strong brand purpose for your brand. Look for the best, most clutter breaking idea that delivers to your business objective. and be pedantic about, executing it with perfection. The third is actually about people, and it's about internal people actually, which is ensure that people who are working within the function of marketing have enough to look forward to in terms of the work they're doing. Like I said, marketing is people work in marketing because there is a sense of excitement around creation. Marketers create stuff. They create campaigns, they create brands, they create products, they help create products. Marketing is a business of creation. You can't have people who are not excited about the business of creation. So the third one is ensure that your people remain excited with the prospect of what they can create. And if you can have that culture within your team, then you will be successful. So yeah, these are my three. Uh, be be customer obsessed, be crafting obsessed, and ensure your people have something to look forward to constantly in terms of what they can create.
Customer, craft, and creation. Dhiren, thank you so much. This was Dhiren Amin, Income's Chief Customer Officer, and on our interview with series of company leaders, of course, talking heads. Now, for more of such content, feel free to head over to telummedia.com.